What's up, guys? Matt here, coming at you with another quick video. This one I'm super excited about. We got some Treal goodies come in. This is mostly I'm going to be testing out the new overdrive gears for the front diff. So I think these are like a 14% overdrive for the front end. Those of you who watch the channel know with my dig rig here, I'm actually running a little bit of overdrive in the front. Because I have two separate motors there, and I've got them adjusted to where this one's pulling a little faster, and actually it starts pulling first a tiny bit before this rear one. But anyways, you know, there's a lot of work goes into setting something like that up. Now everybody can have overdrive with a simple little install. So what I'm going to do is I've put this truck back mostly stock. Stock motor ESC. Only thing that's not stock now is the shocks, and they're basically stock. They're just the aluminum Power Hobbies and the Servo. But I took all the weight out and put the stock wheels and tires back on. I'm going to run this truck for 5-10 minutes on my course. Then we're going to check the motor temp, see what kind of temperature we're running on the motor to start with. And then we're going to put these gears in and do it again. See how they help us, if they help us any at all, and if they change the motor temps. So I want to have a mostly stock truck to do that with, just so everybody kind of knows the baseline. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a little run with this truck, and then we'll get the gears in and see what happens. Okay, so I kind of ran the same lap twice. I varied it a little bit, but I did the same with the gears and without. And what I was doing was I was trying to just hit most of the stuff around the edge of the course that I knew a stock truck could do fairly easily without struggling, because I wanted it to be consistent as possible. That way both runs were almost exactly the same. If I'd been trying to spin up a hill or this or that, I feel like it would have varied a little more because, you know, you roll over, you might make the hill and then not make the hill, that sort of thing. So with this run, I just kind of kept a steady little crawl around the course, not pushing it very hard at all, but it's giving an idea of how fast the motor heats up with the stock gearing and how fast it heats up with the overdrive gears. And that's really what I wanted to see. And I trimmed the video down because I didn't want to be showing the same thing over and over. To kind of shorten the video up a little bit, I trimmed it, but I did run the exact same course twice with the gears and with the stock gearing. So this is just kind of a bit of the first run, and then I would come around here and try to make it up this tough little spot over here in the sec. I just tried it, you know, a couple times with each run, and then went on because it just, a stock truck was not going to make it up that unless you just get really, really lucky. It just don't happen. So I tried it a couple times and then moved on. One thing you'll notice here when I get in this bind is this Reefs servo does work.
it does not even struggle to turn the front wheels with all the weight of the truck sitting on it. The Reefs 99 is legit, y'all. It's a great servo if you can fit it. It's a little bit big, but man, it's amazing. So this hill here is one that I decided to go ahead and try to make, because I can usually make it fairly consistent. With a stock truck, you kind of just got to hit it hard and get the bounce, because the tires just don't grab well enough. But you can see I made it in 3 or 4 tries there. And then this little breakover point right here is kind of tough sometimes, but the C10 tires did pretty well. They just kind of eased over it.
Okay, so after making that loop, $96.6 for the motor. It's really not even warm. I mean, I can feel a little bit of warmth on it, but it's not hot at all. So 95.1 there. So it's cooling down a little bit. Just sitting here. So this thing's not the greatest, but it gives you an idea. 93 to 96 maybe. With stock motor, I gotta say, my course is almost more fun with something like this because it's still challenging. With something like that, it's almost just too easy. So that was kind of cool to go back to some stock tires and stock setup kind of. So it's about 63 or 4 in my garage out here. I keep it kind of cool because usually I'm the only one out here and I like it cool. So that gives you an idea on the motor temp. The temperature to start with was about 59 to 60, somewhere around there. That's what it started out as before I ran it at all. So I'm going to get these gears in. I'm sure this will cool back down to what it was. And then we'll try it again with the overdrive gears. Okay, so what I did here is I just pulled the servo arm off, pulled these 2 knuckles. You'll take 2 bolts in the top, 2 bolts in the bottom out. Pulled it off, pulled the diff cover off. That way you can pull these axles out just a tiny bit. And then this should come out. Fairly simple. Just make sure your bearings stay or go back where they need to be. So when you pull this gear out, I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. There's a little rubber seal right there. And Treal gives you 3 of those in the pack. You can see the one there. So one goes on each side of the worm gear, and then they give you a spare. So in case you lose one, or they look like they would even fit the shocks. I know a lot of guys lose the rubber off of the shocks. So there you go. You might get an extra rubber out of there. We kind of help it sit against this bearing, I'm sure, so that it's not just rubbing on the gear against the bearing. So let's see, we'll get a little bit of grease once we get this in here. So I definitely put some grease in there. I always do my stock stuff. You can see that one had grease on it. I just always use this stuff. It's something I bought years ago, and this tub has been going forever with the RCs. Little tip, if you have trouble getting the dog bone to push all the way in and catch on the inside of here, I kept turning mine trying to get it to catch, and it just wouldn't. But the easy way to do it is if it's not pushing all the way in, you can tell if the little recessed part on it is bottomed out on the bearing down in there, then you know it's all the way in. Or you can turn the truck on and hit the throttle. And so if it's not pushed all the way in and you're having trouble getting it lined up, just take your thumb and put some pressure on it and then give it some throttle, and it'll drop into place and you'll feel it catch, and then it's where it needs to be. You may not have any trouble with it. Mine just seemed like it did not want to line up, and that's just the easiest way. I've had to do that before, but thought I'd share that tip anyways. Okay, so we're all back together, and I wanted to kind of do a visual of the overdrive. So this front will spin a little faster than the rear should. So I put the blue tape on there so you can kind of see it, and we'll see how much difference there is. Hopefully this thing will stay halfway still here. So that's one turn. 2 turns with the rear to the center. The front is that much ahead of it basically. So hopefully you can see that. The front, I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but the front is spinning faster for sure. Okay, here's my other C10 with stock gearing still. You can see I got the tape lined up again. It's a little bit off probably, but close enough. Exactly the same. So one more time, we'll see it with the overdrive here. You can see how far ahead the front already is. Pretty cool. So let's go test it out, see what it does with the motor. We're going to check this motor, make sure it's back where we started before. .68. We'll let that cool just a minute, and then I'll do some more running with it and see how it does. So I kind of ran just the outer loop around the course and then across in a few areas, and just try to do a few lines that I knew a stock truck could handle fairly easily. That way it was a consistent run both times. You know, I wasn't trying to get up a hill 15 times without the gears and 5 with them, you know, or whatever. So it was just a good, steady, solid run, just to kind of see how the motor temps did with the stock gearing and the trail gearing. I'll get more into like climbing and how much they help on, you know, different situations, maybe a turning radius and that sort of thing later. This is just kind of an initial thoughts kind of thing, and my main concern was heat, you know, issues with the motor. I know a lot of people have trouble with stock motor. A lot of that's when you go adding the extra weight here and there and everywhere. So this truck running stock setup with just the gears, I think it's going to be fine. I don't think the gearing is going to have much to do with the heat, but we will find out.
So I trimmed the video up so it wasn't long and drawn out, but I did run the same loop kind of, 2 times, and then did a few little extra climbs. I hit this a couple times with each run, but stock trucks is not really going to make it up that very well, and you need some better tires, and some extra weight wouldn't hurt. But like I said, I cut the run up a little bit and just showed parts of it on the video just because it was getting very long. But I did run it for definitely a little over 10 minutes with the gears and without. And so that's basically what my results are based on. And I know that 10 minutes of kind of light running is not a lot to throw at it, but I was more just wanting to watch how much the temperature would rise with the different gearing. So if it went up 20 degrees with stock, from stock gearing to the Treal gears, then we know that it's going to run a little warmer with the Treal gears. But it all varies. If you're doing a lot of spinning like I'm doing here, then you're going to heat up quicker and get hotter. So I was more just wanting to see if the rise in the temperature was kind of the same.
Okay, so I just ran for a good solid 10 minutes, running the same loop, and I'm not getting any more heat really. 95.9. If I can hold it still, 95.1. The farther I get back, of course, a little less, but 94, 95. So still not even crossed over like the 100 mark, and it don't even feel hot at all. It is cool in my garage, like I said, so the temperature is going to vary, but that's the case with the stock setup. So far from what I see here, it's not really changing the motor temp at all. I'll do some more running with it. I like how it handles. I can definitely see me putting these in all of my rigs. Besides this one, it's already kind of running on its own. But for the price, I think they were like $20 shipped from Amazon. A little bit more straight from Treal. But for $20, it's well worth it. To me, it's not going to be as big a difference as getting a set of tires or something like that. So if you're, on a tight budget and you want to do one or the other, honestly, I think you'd probably just benefit more from a good set of tires. But I do like how it handles with the overdrive gear in there.
Because I've had overdrive in some of my 10 scale stuff before, particularly like my Capra, to where it was too high of a percentage, and it just felt like you were dragging the rear end all the time, and there was some binding or something going on. And you don't notice that at all with this. It drives just as smooth as it did with stock gearing, but it is there doing a little bit of pulling. So I think Treal did a real good job with the percentage they chose on these. They maybe could have got away with a little bit more, I don't know. But the fact that you don't notice it when driving is awesome. So it doesn't change your truck up at all. I think when I get to doing some more testing with some better tires and stuff, I'll really be able to notice the advantage that it gives. Because in my opinion, it's going to be a little bit of an advantage. It's not, like I said, it's not a massive game changer, but it doesn't cost that much either. So, for $20, like, to me, it's worth it. You buy a diff cover for $20, and it definitely does probably more than that would do. So, in my mind, it's well worth the money, and I think they did an awesome job with these gears. But I do think that, you're going to want better tires still, because better tires pulling on that front end, you're going to get more of an advantage. Right now I'm just spinning the front more, so if you had that grip, you would really notice it, I do believe. So I'm going to get farther into testing with these, with some different wheels and tires, and a little bit of weight maybe, and I think we'll really see these gears shine.
This is kind of just initial thoughts, and the motor temp, really I wanted to check. So seems like it's not going to really affect the motor temp. I've seen a lot of people say, take this sticker off and that'll help with the heat. Most of the time I don't even run the stock motor. I haven't ran this truck much, so it has a stock motor in it. But another thing that I've done a few times is just stick a magnet on it, and it helps dissipate the heat a little bit. Or you can, I put heat sinks on there from little Raspberry Pi computers. I used to build game systems with those and stuff. I have a ton of those laying around. You can swipe one of those on there and it helps. But for me, once I get to the point that I'm going to start modding a truck much that it's going to have enough weight to really hurt the stock motor, I've already taken the stock motor out by that point. So, but that's a couple things you can do also for heat. And overall, I really like it. I like that you can just buy gears now. Like I said, I have a bunch of front, well, I say a bunch, probably 2, maybe 3 front axle housings sitting around with no gears in them. So now I have gears. So in my opinion, it's worth it. It's not something that you're really going to notice like a huge difference in. Don't go buy them and think it's just going to totally change the way your truck handles. But I think from the little bit of running I've did so far, I think I'm going to like it. And I will definitely update on it and let you guys know as I get more time with it, how I feel about them. My main concern was anybody running a stock truck, how big a difference would it make, and would it be hard on the motor? And so it's not gonna be any worse on the motor, I don't feel like. I mean, it all depends what you're doing. If you're sitting there spinning the tires wide open, not letting off the throttle, then anything's gonna burn your motor up, really. But if you're crawling like I did on the course here and making a couple laps, I mean, I made those couple laps there and never really stopped, and it wasn't even warm at all. So I think you'll be fine. I'm also going to be testing soon, while I have this truck kind of stockish form with stock wheels and tires. Full Send sent me these weights for the stock wheels. I have multiple sets of them and lots of my other wheels. Here's a set here that's setting from a pair of wheels I took off here recently. Going to be putting those on another build here soon, hopefully. But I have their weights in a lot of my trucks. The only thing I really don't have weight on is this. I'm just trying to stay low weight on it. But I didn't really have any stock weights for the stock wheels and tires because normally I'm changing those. But I thought that's a really good option for the low price of these. Somebody that gets a truck brand new out of the box, throw these in as like maybe your first upgrade and see what it gets you. So we're going to test that out and see what difference it makes. It's big. I've just going from stock wheels and tires to something with weight, I know it's a big difference. So we'll do a little testing with that coming up soon. And let me know if you have any questions about these overdrive gears. Like I said, I'm going to like them. Maybe it's not worth the money to some people. You're not going to notice a huge difference, in my opinion. But I think there is a little there. And I'm the type of person that I want every advantage I can get. So if it's available, I'm getting it. Once they're available, I will be putting those gears in all of my trucks. So that says something, I guess. It's $20 a truck. Let's face it, we've all got way too much money in these things. So $20 is nothing. Anyways, I'm going to cut this off. I keep rambling. Appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate all the support here lately. Can't wait to do the giveaway, see who wins the four-wheel steer controller. Definitely don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I'm putting all these videos up. I appreciate everybody. Peace.